across borders, guys, right? Can we have a big round of applause for the panel today? We have Ms. Hande Erçel, Turkish actress. Mr. Ayushmann Khurrana, Indian actor, singer, and performer. Ms. Khushbu Sundar, renowned film personality. We welcome you all on stage. And with our moderator today, Ms. Dilshad Irani, editor, Storyboard 18, Network 18 Media Group.
Thank you very much for the introduction, of course, and I will just, before we begin, a quick sort of take on the theme this morning. Given everything that has happened in, of course, the past few years post-COVID, we've seen this massive boom in content that's going across borders. And that essentially is what we're going to talk about here with in representation from Turkey, of course, and from India to massive entertainment markets across the world. And before I begin getting into the thick of the conversation, Ayushmann, I just want to ask you, the 3 COVID years that we had really changed the game. It changed consumption habits, patterns, what we watched, how we watched. Just look back at that time and tell me your experience, not just as an actor, as someone in the entertainment business, but also as a consumer, as a viewer. How was that experience for you?
Oh my God, I think this really hastened everything. Entertainment industry, content was ever evolving, but the pace was hastened. In these 3 years, I think what we were supposed to achieve in next 10 years, it happened in just 3 years. And of course, initially there was like dearth of supply. Now there's like overwhelming supply. So we're going through that curve right now. At the same time, I guess we have pushed the boundaries of content. Good is not good enough. I think it should be great. Heightened emotions. If it's a small film, it has to be a banger. And I think this is the time where it's the best time to be an artist and best time to be an Indian as well at the same time. So I really believe in that.
So really expectations really changed in those years. And I'm going to ask Hande also this exact same question. Of course, all countries experienced COVID in their own ways, but also in many ways, it was an experience that the world had together. So tell me a little bit about how it changed you as an artist during that time, as well as a viewer of content.
But I would like to speak with my own language. Bence ben şuna şöyle bakıyorum, tam insanların düşündüğünün aksine belki de. Benim için Covid dönemi çok aydınlanılmış bir dönem. Çünkü insanlar bu kadar tüketimin içinde, bu kadar koşturmanın içinde aslında gerek olmadığını, bir senede olsa, böyle bir kısa bir dönemde bile olsa aslında ne kadar çok az şeyle yetindiğimizi, bize aslında yeten şeyin sevdiklerimizle bir arada olmamız olduğunu öğretti. Ben o yüzden bu dönemi çok güzel deneyimledim kendimce.
For me, on the contrary, I have realized that as humans, we know how to maintain our lives with very little things instead of the extra things. So for me, this period of COVID has been a period of enlightenment, actually.
Well said. Was that a similar experience for you, Khushbu? Okay, a round of applause for that.
यार उन्होंने बोला ज़्यादा थे ना समेट के कम कर दिया थोड़ा सा.
Condensing the thought. But Khushbu, tell me how that experience was for you. And I really want to I'm asking each of you this because I really want to understand how that experience changed you. Not just as a person, but as an artist, as a stakeholder. What was it like?
Hi everyone. I think post-COVID, the biggest game changer was the content, because content became the masters. It wasn't about the star cast, it wasn't about the actors, it was more about what the audience wants. And because of COVID, everybody was at home, the world cinema was at fingertip. So they were able to look at different cinema, the different kind of filmmaking, the different content world over the people were giving, what we have always heard about. It was available to everyone at their fingertip. And I think that was the biggest game changer, where people wanted something similar. You cannot today, Indian cinema, you cannot give them anything that is mediocre. They want something which is absolutely the best, whether it's content, whether it's the making, whether it's the sleekness, or whether it's action, or whether it's dance or music. They just want the best. So I think we have pushed ourselves to that extent where today we win Grammys and we win the Oscars. So we have shown the world that India is not far and we are at par with them. And the content, where people are looking at content, where we are talking about a film like Drishyam, which is the rights have been brought by a Japanese filmmaker to make that film in Japanese language. So where we used to follow and say, "Arey, yahan se thoda sa thought le liya, wahan se thoda sa inspiration ho gaya," and we are building a content and making Indian cinema today. Indian cinema is being made into a foreign language is a huge leap for us, and we say that yes, we have arrived.
Well said, the huge leap. And again, your point, Ayushmann, about India sort of arriving on the global stage. Of course, again, you know, in those years, we saw this massive boom in Korean content, Turkish content, even before that was on Indian television as well. Of course, streaming changed the game, accelerated that pace. As a representative of the Indian entertainment industry, globally as well, with your work in many parts of the world, with global organizations, including UNICEF, what is from your vantage, you know, what is this sort of India thing that we bring to the global stage when it comes to entertainment?
As an artist, whenever you make content or act in a certain film, you don't have that agenda or an aspiration to touch people globally. When I was in the Time event in Singapore, I reiterated the fact that more local you go, more global is your reach. So I think when you go rooted and touch the roots and give real stories, then the world is more interested in you. Of course, it has become a cultural melting point, but something like Elephant Whisperers in the Oscars or RRR or Natu Natu, I think it's kind of exotic for them. Because
is it still exotic? Or
it is. I think it's still exotic because the
don't
format
tell me
of
elephants
song.
and snake charmers. I think we're beyond
No,
that.
the Elephant Whisperers I'm talking about, which Guneet was part of.
Yes.
I'm talking about that. But still, the concept of song and dance of Indian film industry is so unique and eclectic, which you don't see anywhere else. But Turkish cinema, for example, I think it's a cultural melting pot where it's Eurasia. It's not just only Europe or only Asia. It's probably more progressive than Middle East and more conservative and traditional than the West. So it has a certain connect with Indian masses. So it's very similar like that. That's why it's become more popular in India.
That's a very interesting point you mentioned, Ayushmann, because Khushbu, it's interesting because we are seeing this sort of people embracing their native and local cultures, right? Like Ayushmann mentioned on India, you know, of course there are some stereotypes and all of that, but we're really owning it. We're really owning our culture, and that's the similarity. Do you see that similarity even with, say, Turkish culture and the sort of the entertainment, the films, the series that come out of that? They really sort of own their culture, and it's not about, you know, superimposing a global idea onto their markets, onto their viewers, but really taking their idea of it global. Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think until unless we are not proud of our culture or where we come from, our roots, I don't think we can give them the best of anything. So I think when the kind of films that are being made today, or very recently there's a film which was released in Malayalam called Manjumal Boys. It was made in a very small budget of probably single digit, around 8 to 9 crores, but it's the fastest 100 crore club movie in Malayalam. And that is because it's rooted. There's a Telugu film called Balagam, which is a very, very simple story about a grandfather dying and kawa aake wo pind ke din khana khayega ya nahi khayega. But that film has made an enormous growth. So, you know, the kind of impact we leave on the people, it's always about what we are giving back where we come from. It's fine to ape the West. One concept which I'd never understand with the Western horror films is, you have a ghost in the house, but bachcha akela soega kamre mein. And that is something I'm like, no, I would keep my child with me. But, you know, and this is the content what we give them, and people take it up because, and this is what I see even close by, whether it is Turkish or Spanish films, where we see that they are ready to own up the culture. They're ready to own up where we come from. We do not want to forego our roots and say that I am completely westernized. Yes, it's fine to adapt something which is going to help us to grow, but I think it's extremely important as a filmmaker, as a producer myself, and a wife of a very well-known director, I think it's extremely important that we stay rooted and we give. And I think Ayushmann has been the greatest example where he's given us films which is extremely rooted, whether it was your film, Article 15, or whether it was, you know, what you made in Chandigarh, yeah, all the Chandigarh Kare Aashiki. Or when he comes back and does even a Dream Girl, or you do Andhadhun. I think, you know, you see where it comes from and you are ready. And that's the audience we have today. You are, even the audience in this room, what I see, you are absolutely fine dancing with Nata Nata Nata, or you're absolutely fine doing Pushpa, or and you're absolutely fine with Ayushmann playing piano in Andhadhun. I think we all relate to that. And that is what it is important, that we stay connected to our roots, never let that go, because that is what makes us different from the others. And if you want to succeed, you have to give them something different.
सबसे busy वो आखिरी लड़की है यहाँ पे.
Explain कर रही
सबसे ज़्यादा काम उसके पास है आज.
And you know, but that's another thing, right? With so much sort of foreign language content, like you wouldn't even think maybe even 10 years ago, that we would be watching so much foreign language content, right? And subtitling, of course, is a massive part of that, and translating. But let me get back to that point, Hande, for you as well, about really owning your culture and, you know, what is true to, you know, your country and your people. Again, there are so many similarities between the cultures in, say, India and Turkey as well, which is, I guess, why, you know, there was such an uptake for Turkish content in India as well. So tell me a little bit about, you know, the idea of when in Turkey, for instance, when you look at your films and your series, what are the global ambitions? It is one of the largest entertainment markets in the world, like India. In terms of, you know, taking that content global, what has been the agenda? Even for you as an actor, for that matter, right? What are your ambitions when it comes to seeing, you know, your work in other markets?
Aslında şöyle, hem Hint sinemasında hem Türk sinemasında ben şuna çok şöyle bir ortak nokta olduğunu inanıyorum. Anlattığımız şey aynı, evrensel bir şeyden bahsediyoruz. Duygu, her yerde aynı duygu. Kültür, hepimizin kültürü farklı olsa da bizim benzerliklerimiz, aile yapımız, değerlerimiz, ahlakımız ve bunları anlatma şekillerimiz farklı. O yüzden aramızda böyle bir ortak nokta var. Ve tabii ki şöyle bir gerçek de var. Biz ülkemiz olarak, yani kendi oyuncularımız, yapımcılarımız, kendi değerlerimizi ifade ederken biz sinemayı, diziyi, filmi, yani çok bunları kullanmayı çok seviyoruz. Çünkü kendimizi ifade ediş şeklimiz, belki içimizdeki çığlığı, içimizdeki ateşi filmlerimizle, birçok inanılmaz değerli yönetmenlerimiz, inanılmaz değerli oyuncularımız var, yapımcılarımız var. Bu şekilde ifade edip tüm dünyaya kendimizi bu şekilde anlatmayı seviyoruz. Bunu tercih ediyoruz. Eminim ki Hint sinemasında da bu böyledir. Ve bu samimiyet, bu gerçek duyguları aktarmaya çalıştığımız için tüm dünyaya güzel şekilde yansıdığını düşünüyorum.
I believe that what is common between Indian and Turkish cinema is the fact that we all try to convey the same feelings, whether that is in India or in Turkey, about family, about our lives. And it may be different the way we do these things, the way we convey these feelings in our own films, but the matter is what we convey is absolutely the same. And as actors and actresses, both in Turkey and India, we have our own ways of doing it, but we absolutely share the same ethics, same culture, same understanding with Indian people.
Well said. Rooted, again, the point about being rooted in very sort of real stories. Given that the theme of the day at FICCI Frames is essentially about skills and development of skills. Now, of course, what we've seen over, again, post-COVID, post the pandemic, is an explosion of technology, whether it is on streaming or how we make our films or everything. Everything has changed pretty much, right? And I won't even get into Gen AI. But Ayushmann, tell me, for you as an artist and very active artist doing a whole bunch of things across genres, how have you seen technology play a role in changing you as an artist?
Intrinsically, as a purist, artists should be high on EQ rather than IQ. So we believe in emotions, we deal in emotions, we sell emotions. So it's a very unique profession we are in. But apart from that, as far as technology is concerned, I always believe that it enhances the visual experience. But it all emanates from the story and the screenplay. All other things are garnishing on the top. And of course, it goes hand in hand. Filmmaking and technology, we can't do without it. But my core job as an artist is to emote and bring out stories which are unique, which add certain value to people's lives. But having said that, we have really gone leaps and bounds ahead in terms of technology, whether it's AI or action editing skills, everything. I think it's a great collaboration with art and technology.
Art and, I mean, so there's no fear. Of course, we're seeing a lot of sort of, fear around AI and especially creative jobs. We're seeing what AI can do. Maybe not from your, are you worried about AI in the creative fields?
It's a gray area. It's very gray. We don't have any laws related to AI. It's too nascent a stage, and I think we need to develop certain laws. But I really believe as artists, you need to have that connect with people. As I mentioned, I was in Singapore for the Time event. There was this seminar about the doctors, and doctors were like, for the allied jobs, AI is great. But when you are approaching an AI-generated doctor, like as a patient, and you tell that AI-generated doctor, okay, I've not been drinking for 7 days, and you're bluffing that AI will not catch you, but the doctor will, because he'll understand the emotion. So I think that's a great schism between human and technology, that you will never understand the fake emotion or the real emotion. The AI will only say, okay, jo bol raha hai, main maan leta hu. So yeah.
Khushbu, your thoughts? I mean, if not AI, if you don't want to comment on AI, that's fine. But in general, how technology is changing, the work of artists, all stakeholders for that matter, in the industry. Where do you see it going? Is there more optimism? Is there perhaps more fear? How do you see it playing out?
I have always believed there are two sides of every coin. So when you want to own up the new technology, I think you really need to own up with a lot of responsibility, because owning up something new comes with an extreme cautious responsibility. I mean, I echo my thoughts with Ayushmann, where I feel that as an actor, unless I don't feel from my gut and emote, I will not be able to connect with the audience. Probably I belong to old school, where for me, even to read a book, I need to have that paper. Paper. I can't read on my iPad or anything. I mean, I don't carry an iPad. I don't have a laptop or an iPad. So I'm more of a paper. I need to feel that paper in my hand. I need to smell the book. I need to feel my dialogue papers in my hand. I need to emote. When I'm emoting a happy scene, I need to feel happy. If I'm emoting a sad scene, I need to feel something within myself. So I think it's great to have the technology. Yes, it helps a lot when you're making a film. as a filmmaker, as a producer, it brings down the burden. But yes, like I said, it comes with a lot of responsibility, and unfortunately, more than the positive side, the human brain picks up the negative side of the technology and misuses it. So we need to have a kind of a borderline where you need to say that this is where we need to draw a line, we cannot go beyond this. As a filmmaker, I would still say that for certain aspects, yes, the technology is fine, but I would still love to go back and say that I want my basic daily wage workers to be on the sets, my dancers dancing their heart out, my fighters fighting there with all their guts and saying that yes, we are making a film. I cannot even imagine a film industry where you have very robotic images or somebody saying, yaar, aap ghar mein baitho, ye hum create kar lenge. I am not that. I need to feel that. I need to feel that we all are there together, having a chat, working, and giving them real emotions. Because after all, it's all about emotion, whether it is like, Rishte mein hum tumhara baap lagte hain, or you do anything else. I mean, you need to feel that emotion. Until unless you don't do it, I don't think you'll be able to connect with the audience.
Human intelligence is what
Absolutely.
you need. Hande, same question to you. When it comes to technology, you know, what is it like for artists in Turkey right now? You know, what are the conversations that you're having perhaps about new technologies like Gen AI, which have taken the world by storm? What are some of the conversations you're having? What are some of the positives that you're seeing, some of the negatives that you see?
Aslında şöyle, ben yapay zekadan korkmuyorum. Yapay zekayı kullanacak olanlardan biraz korkuyorum. Çünkü tabii ki yapay zeka, teknoloji inanılmaz yerlere getiriyor sektörümüzü. Birçok alandaki, sağlık sektörü olsun, her alanda. Ama ben daha çok kullanım şeklini, kötüye kullanım şeklinden çok korkuyorum. Tekrar Covid'e döneceğim. Mesela biz Covid'de anladık ki bizim insana ihtiyacımız var. Sosyalleşmeye, beraber çalışmaya, omuz omuza olmaya ihtiyacımız var. Bu yapay zekalarla beraber belki de beni korkutan şeylerden biri artık birebir çalışmalar olmayacağı günler gelecek. Ama o zamanlar anladık ki bizim buna ihtiyacımız var. Eminim ki bu da çok kısa bir süreliğine olur ve insan tekrar doğasına döner, kendine döner, ihtiyaçlarına döner. Bizim ülkemizde de teknolojinin getirdiği yerler, kullanıldığı yerler çok önemli. Dizi sektörümüzde CGI'lar inanılmaz. Hani tabii ki buna çok ihtiyacımız var ama oyuncu olarak, duygusal varlıklar olarak, insanlar olarak kesinlikle bir yapay zeka işbirliklerinde çok kendimi düşünemiyorum.
For me, what I think about technology and AI in general is not the technology itself, but the people who will use it. There's unfortunately a possibility of abusing AI in film industry. And going back to COVID, actually, we have realized how much we need socializing, how much we need to be around people. So I do believe that technology may be active right now, and it has helped the industry in Turkey as well, for sure, with CGI and everything. But I believe that soon we will understand again the importance of having the human touch, because at the end of the day, humans are emotional beings, and we have to touch our emotions in order to convey them. So I believe in future we will go back to the way it was.
It's so different having creative people on stage talking to me versus technologists, because it's an entirely different conversation in those spheres. But I'm just going to pick on something that Hande said, and Khushbu, and I'll ask you this also. When it comes to the dark side of these new technologies, and especially something like Gen AI, it seems, from what we've seen so far, is that women perhaps face a bigger brunt of that, especially with everything that we're seeing with deep fakes, for instance. It's been called a threat to democracy, of course, and we've seen the harm it can do. As a woman leader, as a woman sort of leading in her fields, how do you feel about that? What do you want to happen so that people are safe and people can practice their art, their work, whatever it is, safely and securely?
That's exactly what I said some time back. Most of them will be misusing this kind of a technology. And we have seen it in recent times when it comes to deepfake. And that is where I say the laws have to be very, very stringent. Yes, unfortunately, we have people who create these kind of artificially generated videos which involves women, but that's the mindset of most of the men around who are not able to understand or identify that whatever an actor, a female actor does on screen, it's her job. I definitely would want, as a woman, as a member of National Commission of Women, I would definitely want very stringent laws to come in. I definitely want people to be taken to task if any of these kind of technology is misused. But I also would like to say that, you know, it's only the famous ones who are targeted, because they know that's the only way those who create these kind of videos will be famous. So for them, it's a 2-minute fame. They completely forget that how it's going to reflect not only on them, their future, but the future of their family. Because after all, they are caught, and once they are caught, it shames the family, not them alone. So, you know, it's just at the moment of heat, they want to do something and say, "Darere, I created this, take the 2-minute fame." But yes, until unless we don't have very stringent laws about the use of the technology, what we are talking about, the future is going to be very, very fearful. And I dread thinking that if we don't bring in very stringent laws now and say those who misuse this kind of a technology will be severely punished, I don't see a very, very happy frame in the future with this technology.
It's certainly scary. Ayushmann, I'll just maybe quickly, I have a few more questions, but I'll ask you this, especially with Women's Day approaching. And you are in many ways a feminist icon for a lot of people, given your work, of course, on screen, off screen. Just given, again, you know, the fears, the opportunities, everything with technology and all the changes that we're seeing right now, what is your advice to, you know, young aspirants, young people getting into the industry, business? What advice would you give them sitting here right now?
Just follow your heart. Of course, hard work really pays off well. I heard this somewhere that you know, a focused fool has more chances of being successful than a distracted genius. So I think just be, they are just old sayings, self-help books में से जो भी निकाल के पढ़ो सच ही होती है. But I'm so glad that Women's Day is approaching and men are in minority on stage.
Which is very rare.
Which is very rare. And these kind of situations should happen more in more forums. We need more women speakers, opinion leaders, and हर एक मर्द को थोड़ा सा औरत हो जाना चाहिए. ज़िंदगी ज़्यादा खूबसूरत होगी.
We couldn't have ended on a better note, so I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely chatting with you. It was a true pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ayushmann sir. पानी दा रंग देख के अखियाँ जो हंजूर दे. एक गाना हो जाए सर फॉर मिस हांदे.
पिछले 70 साल से मैं यही गाना गा रहा हूँ.
बहुत सारे गाने सर आपके. आई एम अ बिग फैन ऑफ योर्स. प्लीज, आई एम श्योर द ऑडियंस विल लव टू लिसन टू यू.
माहियाना आया मेरा, माहियाना आया, माहियाना आया मेरा, माहियाना आया, रांझना आया मेरा, माहियाना आया, माहियाना आया मेरा, रांझना आया. अखां दा नूर वेख के अखियां चो हंजुर उड़दे, साडी गली आजा सानू चाण वालिए तेनू होका मारदा फिरा. Thank you.
Big round of applause for Ayushmann Khurrana. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to invite our Turkish consulate, Miss Ildem Ebir, on stage. Yeah, and also Miss SHARE, Turkish filmmaker, who also is responsible for making us meet beautiful Miss Hande Ashil. She was also here last year with Burak Deniz. We welcome you, ma'am.